Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
lead. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Good morning and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and it's Friday. Welcome to Friday, the beginning of the weekend. Oh man, I hope it's a good weekend. I woke up in pain. Have you ever woke up with like crazy pain on your hand? Well, I woke up with crazy pain on my left hand, right, like in the joint of my thumb. Like it's like in here. I could zoom in real quick. Here's the right hand. Actually, the left hand. Well, it's right in here. I got all this crazy pain like in this area. So I'm gonna apply some of this medicine that I have. That it's a cream that the doctors prescribed for me, and I'm gonna put some on to kill this pain because this pain is just driving me a little insane. This morning I woke up with this pain. I'm like, what the hell did I do last night that is like so freaking painful? So weird. But I hope everyone having a good beginning of their day. And if you're still sleeping, I hope you're dreaming very wonderful dreams. Let me start off with some news because of course we gotta watch some news. And let's set this up because I didn't have it set up, but I'll set it up right now. Yeah, let's go with this one. One second, so I set it up.
Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals.
We're gonna pause that for a second because YouTube likes to start off and not pause before starting the video. Make sure the volume's okay. Let's see if I don't like this over here. I like this on this side. Sorry, I'm doing everything like right now. It's like, Rick, you gonna have this ready. I was like, nope. I woke up and got myself, all did it, brushed my teeth, washed my face, used the restroom, and had set up the show. And here we are. So bear with me.
All right, in other news, it was a big win for Donald Trump, right, Griff?
That's right. Out in California, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. This is
yeah,
a
I'm
very
gonna
liberal
you know
court,
it,
mind
Chloe.
you. The panel finding that the president was
I think I
correct. He has
bent it
the
while I was
authority
sleeping or
to
something happened
deploy
that I had to
the
use that thumb. But my
Guard.
God,
And they
It's
really
painful.
were unanimous in deciding this.
I wonder if
Simply
anybody else
saying
has
that their
experienced that
review of
before.
it is that under U.S. Code 10, the president has the authority to deploy the National Guard when regular forces aren't able to enforce U.S. law.
Here's a Truth Social post, big one in the Ninth Court of Appeals, on the president's core power to call in the National Guard. The judges obviously realize that Gavin Newsom is incompetent and ill-prepared, but this is as much bigger than Gavin, because all over the United States, in our cities, and our people need protection. We are the ones to give it to them should state and local police be unable, for whatever reason, to get the job done. This is a great decision for our country, and we will continue to protect and defend law-abiding citizens. Congratulations to the Ninth. America is proud. Now, keep in mind, too, that's a message to Chicago, to Seattle, to Portland.
I bet, Chloe.
Because if your
My
city
goodness,
loses
but that
control,
pain, it's painful. I'm going to put some cream on
I
in a
have the
second.
go-ahead to go in there with my men and women in the National Guard. I'll take them from you and use them to protect your city. This is what he felt as though maybe he could have done better in his last term when things went crazy after the George Floyd riots.
Well, they're called the National Guard, and the president of the United States is the ruler of the nation. So he has made a decision to send in the National Guards to LA after those protests. It was getting so unruly. It was very dangerous. People in the community had to shut down their businesses.
Because ICE needs some protection.
Absolutely. ICE was arresting illegal immigrants who were criminals. And so people were upset about it. They needed more protection. Gavin Newsom wasn't doing the job, so President Trump sent in more troops.
And that's a good point, Ainsley. It's important to note that ICE says 75% of those people that they're arresting have criminal records, many of them violent. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom's not backing down. He's firing back, tweeting this, saying Donald Trump is not a king and not above the law. Tonight, the court rightly rejected Trump's claim that he can do whatever he wants with the National Guard and not have to explain himself to a court. We will not let this authoritarian use of military soldiers against citizens go unchecked. He's on the wrong side of the courts. Not even a liberal Ninth Circuit court is going to take his side. Maybe he just sees a political gain out of it and he's doubling.
I just can't wait for his Substack column where he can expand on it and overcome the noise. Either that or his podcast. I've never seen a governor so disinterested in being governor while being governor. Meanwhile, they did do a Fox poll, and the 47% approve of the National Guard's presence in these cities. 52% are against it. So polling-wise, it's not as popular. When asked about who's got favorable opinion, Donald Trump's got more favorable 45 than Gavin Newsom's 39. So it might not be the most popular thing for the population. I think it's absolutely necessary for the cities and for the small businesses. However, the National Guard does have to sit with federal buildings. Think about this. You have in New Jersey, we have escaped illegal immigrants in a facility. They get out. They finally realize they're on the land. They report themselves to these two escaped illegals. They report themselves to the state cops. The state cop says, we will not bring you back to the facility. We were told not to cooperate with ICE. That's how bad it is.
Crazy.
We have law enforcement not supporting law enforcement. That's why you need the National Guard.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our...
This is the problem in America. They don't respect authority. They don't respect people in power, people who are elected power. He's a representative of all Americans that voted for him. And the last time I checked, it hasn't changed, but he didn't win the popular vote. I'm just saying, weird. But yeah, California is very fucking weird. Gavin Newsom, I'm surprised he's still in office. I think who has a major control and who's controlling the narratives in California is not really the government of California. I believe, and this is my belief, I believe it's the cartels. I believe it's the Mexican cartels that are the puppet masters that are controlling the government in California. And as you can see, the uprising, the craziness that are with these young youths, every day they're like getting together and bringing this negative energy. And it's so weird. And every time I say weird, I have to say weird, weird, because of the Snow White. It's just, it got stuck on me. But it is weird that you have all these protests going on, right? And what happened to all the protests at the universities? Crickets. What happened to all the free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine? Shut the fuck up with your free Palestine shit. Like, you're in America, bitch. Get your ass to work. You want to go free Palestine? Well, free Palestine in Palestine. Go over there and do all your craziness. Queers for fucking Palestine. Like, you guys are. It just proves to you how the Democratic Party has just went down low, and I don't even think you can revive that party. Their narrative is so out of whack. They just become, I don't know, it's just as bad, as worse as ever been before. I mean, I never experienced ever in my life the Democratic Party scooped to this low. Never, ever. This is the first. I want to check out the weather at my neck of the woods. And I hate when they start the video when I click it. They should just let me click it to start the video instead of them starting it when I open the window. I mean, especially for like what I do, it will make it a lot easier. So let's see if I could set this up. This is for the Northeast and Connecticut weather. So it's not going to be for your neck of the woods, and it's okay. But it is for my neck of the woods, and we're supposed to have a heat wave starting, I believe, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe, or it's one. I know it's like 3 days in a row when you have a heat wave, and this is our first heat wave of 2025. I believe to be considered a heat wave, it has to be I believe it's 3 days consecutive over 90 degrees to be classified as a heat wave. So we'll see. Let's see what the weather is going to be up here in the Northeast.
Well, I guess to kind of tie it in. So speaking of,
I love sailboats.
Pizza oven, how hot it gets in there.
Oh,
that's how it's going to feel next week.
I like
but take a look outside. This is right now in New Haven.
It's a little windy out there.
It's a perfect day for a sailboat. I mean, you have the wind. It's a gusty wind.
Wow, 50 miles per hour winds.
So you're perfect out there. A beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy it because big changes are on the way. Temperatures across the state, about 70. We should be 59 to near 60 at this hour.
Wow, so it's warming up.
Well above average. Dew points are very low as well, 50s. This is very comfortable.
Dew points were high yesterday.
Next week into the mid 70s, even possibly upper 70s for a dew point. You don't see those that often here in Connecticut. The winds right now out of the west, 10 to 20 sustained, gusting already up to near 30 at Windsor Locks. Check that out. 29 mile per hour wind gusts today. The wind gust trend stays elevated throughout the entire day. It's a northwest breeze, which brings in cooler.
It was 102 here. Holy shit!
That cooler area is relatively speaking.
102, but 102 dry or humid.
A few showers to the north right now. We're doing okay, but the big changes come in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Arguably, even Sunday is a very, very hot day. Record heat is likely.
One of the days we're
high humidity, real field temperature, 100 plus.
I think it's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's going to be quite hot out there. It's the humidity levels. I mean, this is what's going to do it.
And that Sunday, humidity, Monday, Tuesday,
Sunday,
Wednesday. Monday.
It's just ridiculous out there. By Sunday, there's major issues with heat. On Monday, notice the purple, the extreme, and that comes very close to Connecticut.
New York is getting in.
Tuesday. So big issues by next week. You don't want to be outside. That's literally how hot it will be. As far as what to expect for tomorrow or for the rest of the day today,
tomorrow we're going to get
through tomorrow.
Some rain.
Here's 9 a.m. Maybe a shower An issue, though, comes in later.
Oh, we're going to get a big line of storms.
This is a very good indication, kind of some radar interpretation here.
Whoa.
Now, we'll have to watch this. A warm front
That
will
is
be
a
lifted
big
to the north,
line
in
of
an
storms.
area
It's
of
going to be coming this way.
thunderstorm activity, put it lightly. It could be on the strong side. It could be making its way towards Connecticut. It looks like it weakens, but some of the models pull it even closer. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. Most of Sunday, though,
might get our ass kicked.
It's going to get quite warm out there. There is the threat for some severe weather.
Yeah, look, pretty,
Sunday morning. Forecast highs today, 80s. It's a beautiful day. TPC tournament. Get outside and enjoy it. Today, summer
100 on Tuesday.
Builds near 90 tomorrow, 90 Sunday. Really don't know the last time I've seen on a map 100 degrees what we're forecasting. So we'll likely feel much hotter than that.
Oh, I gotta pause it. Let's leave it right there for a second. I'm gonna enjoy today. And tomorrow it's gonna be in the 80s, 88. That's a good number. Sunday 91. It's the beginning of the heat wave, which is gonna be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which on Tuesday is going to be 90. No, Tuesday's going to be 100. I mean, 100. Oh, even Monday is going to be close to 100 because 98, even Wednesday could be a possibility. It could reach 100. It all depends on the clouds. But it seems like it's going to be a hot one up here. That's crazy. That is. It's very crazy. Let's see if we could bring up another news feed here. Okay. I think the sound is the gremlins are back with the fucking sound. So give me 1 second and let me fix it because of course the gremlins wants to come in this morning to mess up the whole parade, which I don't think so because nobody's gonna ruin my parade. Let me see. Okay, let's load it back up and play it.
Supreme leader to do that, and it would take a couple of weeks to complete the production of that weapon, which would of course pose an existential
You're in
threat,
Texas?
not just to
Yeah,
Israel,
I know
but
the
to United
humidity.
States and to the entire world.
So how did and how
I'll turn
maybe
into
in the
a
future,
cookie.
Iran gets so close to nuclear
I'll turn into a chocolate chip cookie that's edible, Chloe. If I'm at 102 degrees in Texas,
and Brian, if you could just take
it'll
a look
take me
at your
30
monitor,
seconds to cook.
Here's a
Hell
look at
yeah.
what they're saying. If you get a one weapon in 2 or 3 days, you could quickly go to 11,
Time to
and then in 2
wake and
months,
bake.
15, 19, 21, 22. But it really all changes with the one because they have the scientists, they had the material, and then it'll be like North Korea. We just would accept it. That's what they were hoping for, and that's pretty significant, don't you think?
Very much so. And Iran now has enough enriched nuclear material for 10 nuclear bombs.
Right now.
And
bake.
yeah, right now, yes. They have increased the processing.
10 bombs.
They've been spinning their 16,000 advanced centrifuges in an escalatory fashion because they are trying to become a nuclear
You're closer
state.
to Dallas, right,
And,
Chloe?
this is like, it's much harder to negotiate against a country
Dallas?
when they have a nuclear weapon,
I
as
really
we've
would
learned with
love
North
to go to
Korea.
Texas.
And if Iran
I know it's a lot
were
of like
able to acquire a
craziness,
weapon, the Middle
especially
East will
Houston
never
and
be the
stuff. I
same.
wouldn't want to go that area.
So
but I wouldn't
there's
mind going to
fissile
like the
material
Alamo
located somewhere
going to like San
outside these
Antonio
nuclear plants, I understand.
and possibly
And
Dallas would be
possibly
nice.
even Israel
I don't
doesn't
know
know where
what's
it is.
really cool to
Where
do
would you
out there, but
put
I know there's really cool
nuclear
people out
material,
there.
enriched uranium.
I would love to see if I could visit my friend.
Iran, over the
out
course
there,
of its nuclear history,
Edwin.
has dispersed
I always think
its,
about him.
its
He's
research
an
and
original of my
enrichment
show.
all across the country. And this
And
has
I really
created
do
a real
miss
challenge
him.
for Israel. And it's doing a terrific job of taking out these sites.
Central Texas,
But
just 2 hours
I mean,
away.
over the course of, I've been working on this file for a long time, going back to like 2006, when
cool.
the UN nuclear agency
Austin
back then
Austin,
said that
Texas.
Iran was not in compliance with its nuclear obligations.
I heard good things
And
about
they
Austin.
have been playing this game
You guys
with the
got
United Nations and with the United States and Israel for
Right.
decades.
Food, especially
And
barbecue
it's
food.
now, I think
Oh,
the time it's
I love
now come to
barbecue
an
food.
end.
So I wanted people to know also, as we take a look back at the wall again, why this is our fight too. And we know banging back to the 80s.
I would
They've been
like to go to
killing
the beach
Americans
too.
through their proxy.
Opportunity. If I
They thought to be the gold standard.
I would like to go to the
Remember,
beach.
the hostages. Remember Ted Koppel. And then every single night, the launch of Nightline, America was traumatized. Jimmy Carter would lose the presidency. A failed attempt to rescue them. We were embarrassed. And then a couple of years later, in Beirut, Hezbollah is taking control of that country. The bombing that killed 17 Americans. And then the ones ultimately under Reagan that killed 241. Up into Israel, killed the culprits that were still alive a few months ago. They've been living great lives, living off the backs of that success. And Brian, I want to bring you in here. People think, well, we have a problem with Iraq. We don't replicate Iraq.
Where exactly
the problem with Iraq was the insurgency sponsored and trained, financed, and directly supported by the Iranians. What did they do? They say estimated 603 Americans dead on thanks to them, blood on their hands.
Yes, that is the work of General Qasem Soleimani, whom President Trump took off the battlefield in the first term.
Some Dora Explorer
he organized, trained, and equipped all of these proxies in Iraq that are directly responsible for killing 603 American soldiers, as you said, Brian. And then on top of that, we're talking about thousands who were seriously, gravely injured today. And so this is a regime that has been at war with the United States for over 40 years and has killed well over 1,000 Americans through its proxies.
Brian, I know you have great respect for the President of the United States, and he has for you. But what would you like to see him do from the intelligence that you have right now?
You guys got a lot of little...
Well, the president's doing an excellent job of kind of letting events come his way. And he's... my experience with him is that he very much wants to avoid conflict and get to a point where you can have a deal with the Iranian regime that addresses its nuclear program. And he has made clear dozens of times that Iran cannot enrich, that the enrichment has to end. And you don't need to enrich in order to have a peaceful nuclear program. But right now, Iran is enriching at the levels of almost 90%. You only need 2 to 3% for peaceful nuclear power. So the Iranian regime is lying.
It is so cool
and they should come back to the negotiating table and accept the offer that the president has made to resolve this peacefully.
I wonder how far...
I don't think we have a trustworthy partner, and maybe postponing an inevitable clash by not taking this opportunity. I know there's downsides to it and risk, but I don't think it's an historic window. Brian, we'll look forward to talking to you throughout the crisis.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox.
I'm like totally ignored the news segment, and I'm like, I don't care. I want to see what's in Texas now. I'm like looking, Corpus Christi, but San Antonio is pretty big. But a lot of people don't know that the capital of Texas is Austin. Here, you got the state capital. That's so cool. You guys have like little areas where you could dip into the medicinal. Like it's like a pool area, which is like the Barton Springs. Barton Springs. That looks so cool. I would totally be in that water. That guy's in the water with shoes on. It's like a watering hole. Yeah, Texas does it different. But looks really cool. There are a lot of people on that rock. Holy crap. It's nice there. That's what's up, Austin. Road trip. How long is it? 4 hours. Okay. So 4 hours from San Antonio. San Antonio is nice. Yeah, is it? Yeah, I never ever been to Texas. Out of all the years I've been alive, Texas never called my attention, and I wonder how's the immigration there in Texas, because I'm pretty sure it's crazy as hell. I bet it's wild, but that's cool. And then you got zoos. I know you guys got zoos. Everyone has a zoo. We are the zoo animals. We're the zoo animals. Let the real animals free. and put the people in and replace. Oh wow. All right, maybe let's check out what's going on in Israel. Because we got to keep an eye on what's going on over there. Let me see if I could bring up a skyline. Let me cut the audio. That one doesn't have much of an audio in this plane. Okay, so this one neither. Okay, let me hit live on this one. Let me pull the tab and set it up. And this is live. And we're looking at Jerusalem. The Western Wall is right here. This is the Western Wall. This is overlooking Jerusalem. This is live look right now. I can come closer, like here. And you can see this is just a closer look at the Great Wall. I could bring up a video of a closer view of the Great Wall. I actually have also the skyline of Tel Aviv. If I'm not mistaken, this right here is Tel Aviv. And let me hit play here. Okay, it finished. So we're done with Tel Aviv. So let's go ahead and cancel that out. Let's go back over here. While that's canceled out, I'm gonna get a new video up. Let's see if I could find it though. I do have that one. Any plans for the weekend? Are you doing anything, Chloe, that's fun and exciting? I put that cream on my hand. It's starting to work really fast. It's working. Like, it's killing the pain. I took my medicine too, because I take my medicine when I wake up. So, we're gonna put up some news from last night that while we're sleeping, we can watch now. Oh, damn, I thought I had a closer view of... Yeah, I have to have a closer view. Give me one sec. I'm not used to early morning trying to search for stuff. I am a morning person. Don't get me wrong. I wake up pretty painful, but yet happy. Because I'm happy to be alive when I wake up. It's like, Rick, who isn't? Who's never happy when they wake up? I mean, there's people that are very unhappy, and they're always unhappy about everything. They're like the Karens of the world. They wake up like always on the wrong side of the bed. I remember like back in the days when my mother, she used to wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and you have to make sure she has everything for her coffee, because if not, World War III would break out in that kitchen, because she has to have her coffee and it has to be a certain way. And I'm like, man, I lived through that craziness. I can't believe I did. I made it. Like, alive. I'm alive. Like, yes, trust. It was a crazy time in my life. Okay, so we do got that one. I got a closer look of the Western Wall. Here we go. This is live. And there are some people there. There are some that are doing their little prayers and so forth. And I do have another look. Camera angle is not the greatest, but I do have another look at the Western Wall. Now, the question is, will this area be attacked by Iran in the upcoming days? Possibility, it could be great for this area to be hit by some kind of hypersonic missile or some kind of bombardment of a ballistic missile, or maybe something else, something more futuristic. Maybe anything can happen. Everything's on the table. Everything can happen, but man, Israel is so beautiful today. Look at this. Look at the sky. Look how beautiful. The sun, like you could tell it's a sunny, beautiful day over Israel. Let's see. Gotta sell more crystals. Oh yeah. Let's see. Let me go back because I see that you wrote here. Let me go on my phone. It's a lot easier than looking at my screen. Oh my God, you gotta have Texas barbecue. I know. I have to. Besu, San Antonio. Okay. I may have to go between San Antonio and Austin because I would like to see the Capitol. I would like to go to the Capitol. But San Antonio would be fun. And then I could go to Corpus Christi to go to the beach. I don't know where's the best beaches or recommendation, but if you have any recommendation, shoot it my way. I appreciate it. They have penguins, native dances at the zoo. Okay, so Native American dances all at the zoo. That's cool. But penguins, I like penguins. Where's the Iron Dome? Iron Dome. Well, the Iron Dome is protecting the individuals here. I don't think there have been anything, not that I know of, that has happened. But as you can see, the skylight, like you can see here, it's pretty good. The day's beautiful. Look, not a cloud in the sky. Not a cloud in the sky. But you never know. Things happen so quickly, and Iran can bombard Israel real quick with a whole bunch of bombs and throw everything into chaos. Not good, when that happens. I had a better view. Let me see if I can bring it, because I did have a better view of the skylight. Yeah, but let me see, that's Western Wall. That's Jerusalem. That's Jerusalem. How about Tel Aviv? Do I have Tel Aviv? I do have a Tel Aviv here. Let me see. See how it looks. Okay, I do have a Tel Aviv, which is this one here. So I got all the cameras up. Everything seems to be okay for the moment. Things always change by the minute. It always changes. It's just the time that we're in right now. But let's catch up on some news. Let's go here. Let's watch this one. First, let me rewind it. Let's put some sound on it. Let's make it bigger.
Russia has issued the most frightening warning of the war between Israel and Iran so far, that the world is millimeters from nuclear catastrophe.
Yeah, and some more crystals.
Yes, it's absolutely
like
terrifying stuff, but Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova didn't mince her words when expressing the dire state of the world at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea if you do that.
Nuclear facilities are being struck. Where is the concern for the entire world community? Where are all the environmentalists?
Where's the Iron Dome in Israel? Well, the Iron Dome, what it is
millimeters away from
the Iron Dome is the system that protects Israel.
Zakharova
it's the rocket launchers and missiles
noting
that
repercussions would be extremely dangerous.
Protect Israel.
Would like to particularly warn Washington against military intervention in the situation, which would be an extremely dangerous step, but truly unpredictable negative consequences. Russia notes the clear statements by the Iranian side about its continued commitment to the obligations under the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons and its readiness to resume contacts with the United States to work out possible solutions to remove any unfounded suspicions and prejudices regarding Tehran's nuclear program, given that Israeli attacks stop. Moscow supports this attitude and firmly believes that the desired settlement can be reliably achieved only through diplomacy and negotiations. The goals of nuclear non-proliferation, the fundamental basis of which is the Non-Proliferation Treaty, should not be achieved through aggression and at the cost of innocent victims.
Zakharova's comments come after Vladimir Putin revealed that Russia has sent hundreds of nuclear experts to work at the Bushehr power plant on the Persian Gulf. He also added Russia is committed to staying in Iran.
Мы, как вы знаете, в свое время подхватили проект в Иране, который осуществлялся немецкими компаниями, и достроили атомную электростанцию Бушер. Мы заключили контракт на строительство еще двух блоков. Работы идут, и наши специалисты находятся на площадке. Это свыше 200 человек. И мы договорились с руководством Израиля, что обеспечена их безопасность.
Online commentators were fearful of the revelation, with this person saying,
that's where the sharks come
there
in
are
and
many
grab
Russian experts at Iran's Bushehr nuclear power plant. Any minor mistake by Israel or the United States, officially World War III. This person agrees, highlighting the close ties between Russia and Iran, saying, Putin's statement signals unwavering Russian support for Iran's nuclear program, emphasizing strategic cooperation despite Western pressure.
This is a
Russian
problem.
experts at Iran's power plant strengthens Moscow-Tehran ties and asserts Russia's role in shaping Middle East energy and security dynamics. The powerful alliance between Iran, Russia, and China is making everyone in the West very nervous, particularly with their nuclear capabilities and staunch anti-West rhetoric. Senator John Kennedy says this alliance intends to take over the world.
I want to tell you briefly how I see the world and invite you to tell me if I'm wrong. I think President Xi
versus brown water. I don't like brown water.
I
like
working together.
Crystal clear, like aqua green waters. Like
President
Florida.
Xi is the quarterback.
Florida, some parts of Florida have like really beautiful beaches. Like holy shit! Because I was thinking about going back to Florida.
To have
just to go to the beach for a week, I want to go. I want to be a beach bum for a week.
China dominate the Indo-Pacific while being free to roam.
That's a great vacation for me.
Let me tell you, and South
the
America,
beach every day for a week. Hell yes.
I do not want.
I could be in that salt water, and it's like Epsom salt.
But I don't want President Xi.
I'll be in that water for a long time.
President Putin.
Like I like. It's been a while since I've been to the ocean and been in the water.
Do I?
The last time I did that was about 2 years ago when I went to Puerto Rico. When I went to Puerto Rico, I went in the water, and
I would tell you, Senator, that we are seeing them. I mean, I don't know specifically what their ambitions are,
I don't like
but we do see them
there
working together and doing some of those things against our interest.
General, I need you to. You both of you fine gentlemen, look us in the eye and tell us what you think. I understand you got to choose your words carefully. You don't want to get put on double secret probation. But we've got some hard decisions to make here. And there's a consensus, I think, in the Congress to give you more money. Because I think we need to spend more money on defense. But you're going to have to give us straight answers and tell us what you think.
And it seems US President Donald Trump is well aware of the power that Russia, Iran, China, and their allies hold, and therefore is taking a strong yet diplomatic approach to this latest war. Instead of his usual brashness, Trump will take 2 weeks to come up with a game plan for the US in the Israel-Iran conflict.
Now, regarding the ongoing situation in Iran, I know there has been a lot of speculation amongst all of you in the media regarding the president's decision-making and whether or not the United States will be directly involved.
And stuff, and
in light of that news, I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president for all of you today.
But whilst Donald Trump is attempting to ring in peace, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will not back down in his quest to destroy the nuclear capabilities of Iran,
I have thousands.
with or without US help.
President Trump will do what's best for America. I trust his judgment. He's a tremendous friend, a tremendous world leader, a tremendous friend of Israel and the Jewish people. And we will do what we have to do, and we are doing it. We are committed to destroying the nuclear threat, the threat of a nuclear annihilation against Israel.
And despite refusing to give a concrete answer as to what he will do in the war, the US president's rhetoric remains very supportive of Israel and Netanyahu, causing many to read into what this may mean in 2 weeks.
I think Trump is like the super troll.
Of America's involvement.
He's the super troll.
Some of what you've told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
So keep going. What do I say? I speak to him every day. He's a good man, doing a lot. Been very unfairly treated by his country, I think. Very unfairly treated.
Have you given him any indication that you may seek to aid them more than you have already?
No, I haven't. So far, he's done a good job. He has been treated very unfairly by his country. You know, he's a wartime president, and he's going through this nonsense.
Online commentators had a field day trying to make sense of Trump's cryptic messaging, with this person saying, translation, "We gangsters got to stick together."
Yeah, you gotta stick together because that's a crazy situation, right? Because nobody was really thinking about that. They weren't thinking about Iran, and that has China and Russian ties to their nuclear program. When you know there's something fishy in Iran, there's definitely rotten fish in Iran. And the scent is very strong there. They do have weapons there. They are hidden underground, deep underground, and like they said, the world will be in shock, and altogether shockness, like a shock and awe. And the only thing that would shock me is that they detonate an atomic weapon. Like they explode and test one, and that right there would officially make Iran a nuclear power. How long? Like the US, I don't think 2 weeks, man. They're just, what the US is doing is playing catch up. Okay, the Biden administration and the DOJ and all those other groups, alphabetical groups, was not really paying attention to Iran. Yes, they still had eyes on Iran, but they weren't really paying attention to Iran, especially in the Biden years. Now, Trump is back in office, is trying to play catch up and trying to get these satellites and get the images and get the information. And, you have to get like rock solid information and details of what the mission is going to be and how we're going to execute the mission and how successful is victory in reality is. Because these Bunker Buster bombs never been tested before in real life. They've been tested behind the scenes, and they're testing facilities, but never been tested at war, where we have, nuclear plants that are very deep, like my goodness, like 500-600 feet deep in within the earth. And to have this little bunker busters that only go about 200, maybe 200 feet deep, it's not strong enough. It's not strong enough. The only weapon in reality that's strong enough to penetrate and to destroy It would have to be a tactical weapon, a nuclear weapon, an atomic weapon of maybe like the little boy, like a little boy weapon. It don't have to be like that big grand, big daddy, atomic bomb type of shit to blow up that facility. No, you could do it with a little boy. And problem is, that's going to stir up more issues and more problems, and a lot more feelings are going to start going crazy, especially like the Democrats. The Democrats, anything that the Republicans do, they're going to bitch about. So it doesn't matter at this point. Democrats they're just not happy people. I don't like, smile a little bit more. It's like, whatever you're going through is not that crazy, not that deep. Like, these Democrats are really, you can't tell them no, and they can't lose, because they're sore losers, and they'll bitch and moan and cry for eternity because of like Trump winning. Trust me, I hear it all the time here in Connecticut. It's crazy. All right, let's go to some more news, and then let me see what Chloe's active with me today. Yeah, scary, but I'll definitely get some crystals from you, especially like ones that you recommend, because I want to probably put a little bit more here on the desk. I do have my desk, as you can see, is my altar, and it has a little of everything on it. It has a lot, Rick. It's like, yeah, I know, but just bear with me. I have a lot on here, and it's I've been building up for years and years. If you go back to the beginning and watch the progression of My Mind Over Your Matter, and even the setups, from the very beginning in my small little apartment, and crammed out because the apartment was given to me as an emergency because the apartment that I was living in got flooded out. There was a pipe ruptured on the upper levels. I think it was the 4th floor. The pipe ruptured and destroyed, like, I think it was like 11 apartments. And I was one of the apartments that the water infiltrated and caused a big time mess. And they were able to move me to another apartment within the building, but it was a small little thing. And the apartment has spirits. It had a lot of paranormal activity for sure. And I capture a lot of good evidence of it too. Because I used to get touched. I used to get scratched, like, in that apartment. I'm like, okay, like, I already knew there was an entity there. But kind of what made me push me into starting my YouTube. Well, not my YouTube, but my show. Because I've been on YouTube for over 17 years. YouTube has been in existence for 20 years. YouTube has been like up and going for 20 years. I jumped in the game 3 years later, and I've been on YouTube for 17 years. My goodness, I'm almost an adult. 17 years. Everyone has a date when they join on YouTube, and you could always check for yourself and like, oh, okay, I started, my account here, and it tells you when you start your account. And for me, it's 17 years. Holy shit, I feel old. But I've been doing, I think, for, I don't know how many years I've been doing this. I've been doing this for a long time. Probably 10 years. 9-10 years. It's a long time. And yeah. Excuse me. I got my water here. Always drink water. Always drink water. So you always see me drink water. So take the time and drink water too. Because us humans cannot live without water. We have water in everything. And we have a lot of water inside of us. Over 90%. We're water internally. So we have to keep hydrate. Okay, so let me see. I think I pulled up something here. Yes, I did. Let me just fix the cam. Let's come over here. Let's watch this. And if I can put the sound up. Give me 1 second. They're going to be talking about Whoopi, the Whoopi cushion, Goldberg. Let's see what they have to say on the bottom line.
Let's ask somebody who actually does know what it's like to live under the
Iranian that's a big ass cup she was drinking.
We
saw your cup, girl.
Valid, and frankly,
that was a big cup.
Iranian American attorney.
Hold
and
on, I gotta pause it
family
before we start watching this. I need to go back and see that cup. See, look at this. Damn, it's a Dr. Phil cup, but holy shit, that cup takes almost half her face. Look at her hand compared to that cup. Look at that hand. That's a huge cup, girl. We caught you drinking some. I hope it's not what a little liquor with that coffee, because there's people that do that, man. It's so crazy. I had a friend. Oh, let me come back to me, and then we'll start this that story. I had a friend of mine, right? He was a very unique individual, very smart. Very, very fucking smart. But how can I say it? He was an alcoholic. Like, he would drink alcohol like it was water. He would put it in everything. Like, I never met anyone in my life than this person that I knew. It was about what? 10, more than that. It was like, I want to say 15 years ago. I knew this person, and what he used to do was he used to prepare his coffee at home, and then he would put alcohol in the coffee. Like spike up his coffee, and he would take that to work. And he would not only take one, but he would take like 2 bottles. Like, what he would do is in the morning, he would make the coffee and then spike it, and that's the one that he will start off drinking. Then the other one he would just leave with coffee, and then what he used to do is, because the mug would keep it hot, because it's one of those like those thermal ones that could last. It would keep the heat for like 24 hours, so it would always stay hot. So what he would do is, at work, he would put alcohol in the coffee and then drink that while he was at work. And he was in sales too. That was crazy. And I've never ever met anyone that like that. And for the first time I did, and it was just the weirdest person. Like, I couldn't believe the amount of alcohol that, and he would be like normal. He would be like I never saw him drunk. I mean, I saw him tipsy, but I've never seen him like drunk. Like, he would always drink. So I think he got adapted to it. He got adapted to having alcohol throughout the whole day. And just to think about it, alcohol and coffee, ew. Like, what would be the flavor? Like, I do not want to test it. And I'm like, nope, I don't drink alcohol. So, and please don't try it, because I'm pretty sure it's disgusting. But for alcoholic, like, I guess it's like, it's normal. It's a normal thing. That's like 3 cups in one. Yeah, that girl had a big cup. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this thing. It covers her. It's like the size of her face. Like it's the size of her head. Like that's a big cup. That cup could cover her whole face. My goodness. And she has pretty eyes. I'm not gonna lie. Look, if she's covering her mouth and her nose, but you see her eyes, she has like it's like, we caught you, we're live. Oh shit, I'm live. She puts the cup down real quick. But yeah, let's see, that's crazy. Yeah, functioning. Yeah, alcoholic. Yeah, he was really bad, man. Like, but I never saw him drunk. That was just the weird part. I never saw him drunk. But I did see him tipsy, but never like drunk like that. He was really good at alcohol, I guess. All right, let's watch this. How dare you, Iranian American? Yeah, let's watch
know
this.
What it's like to live under the Iranian regime. If these comparisons are at all valid, and frankly, they're just not. Iranian American
Whoopi
attorney and
Goldberg
activist
compares America to Iran
following the 1979 Islamic
She's a
Revolution.
fucking idiot. Send her to Iran.
Joins us now.
Yo,
thank you for being
Whoopi
here. It's such a dishonorable.
Hold on, let's pause it right here because, and we'll get back a couple of seconds, but let's come back to me. Whoopi Goldberg, man, such a disappointment of my life. Like, I can't believe, out of all the people that could have been, I didn't mind Rosie O'Donnell, because Rosie O'Donnell, some of the movies she played in and her show wasn't like, I didn't care for her show. I didn't care for the only movie that I thought that she did pretty good, and I thought it was like, was Flintstones, right? So, and it wasn't because of her, because the movie had like a lot of good actors. And it's acting a little crazy. So, if it paused, I apologize. And for those rewatching, thank you for rewatching. You made it into an hour into the show. I appreciate it. But the only movie that comes to mind of Rosie O'Donnell is Flintstones. I don't remember her in other movies. I don't really care for Rosie O'Donnell, so that's probably the main reason why I don't know any of her stuff besides her show, the Rosie O'Donnell show. Other than that, crickets in my head. Not good, But Whoopi Goldberg, on the other hand, I remember her from The Color Purple. I remember her from the movie Ghost. She played pretty good movies. Was it Jumping Jack? What was it? The one that she was a police officer? Jumping Jack Flash or something like that. She did like a whole bunch of good movies and so forth. And what got into her to be this like negative and trying to compare America to Iran? Are you kidding me? That just proves to you how ignorant she is. It proves to you how stupid she is. And it truly proves she's never been to Iran. She's never been there. She's listen, Whoopi Goldberg took the road of no return. And the road is called gaslighting road. So she's in the gaslighting road in her life, and she's setting herself up for doom. She's just making herself like people in the future are gonna look back into the past and run into this lady called Whoopi Goldberg and The View, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck was wrong with these motherfuckers back in those days? Like these people are like fucking crazy. I'm saying it now, but I know the people in the future are gonna be like, what the fuck? What the hell these people went through? My goodness. Oh, all right. Let's go back to that big cup of coffee because she is a beautiful one. We got to give her credit. She is beautiful. If she wakes up like this in the morning, she's a keeper. She's a keeper. So let's go ahead and listen in.
Here, it's such a dishonorable comment, not only to the United States and what we are, but also to those thousands of people who've been murdered by that regime. I mean, it's just it makes a ridicule of what their lives stood for and what their families have gone through. What does it make you feel when you know what actually you can make a real comparison between the two countries?
Yeah, Hollywood.
What it really speaks to now more than anything else is this mass collective delusion that we are living in. We're living in a country that provides us so much safety, so much privilege, so much comfort that people don't even know what it's like to live in other parts of the world. And because, the world has been saturated with so much disinformation, this disinformation that was heightened particularly after October 7th, where there was this narrative that, these terrorists are just freedom fighters and they're not that bad. It normalized this idea that actually these regimes in other parts of the world are not that bad and maybe they're not even that different to the United States. Then you have people who are living in the lap of luxury saying things like living in the United States is exactly the same as living in Iran. Well, it's not anything like living in Iran because Iran, they are hanging people from cranes statistically once every 6 hours. Just 2 weeks ago, they amputated 2 people's arms because they were accused of theft. Did they have due process? Did they have fair trials? No, that does not exist under the Islamic regime in Iran. When protesters came out in the streets to protest against this regime, which is our unequivocal right under the Constitution in the United States, did they get met with the same treatment? No, they were shot to death and they had their eyes shot out as punishment. So my response is, how dare anybody compare the life that they're fortunate enough to live in the United States to what Iranian people are going through now and have been going through for the past 46 years.
Well, look, I'll also remind people that Whoopi Goldberg, this was a little more than 3 years ago, and she said it more than once, the Holocaust is not about race. It was not about race. The Holocaust was not about race. She said, you couldn't tell who was Jewish. She kept repeating that, you could see my race, but, if you see somebody walking down the street, you don't know if they're a Jew or not. And she was suspended by ABC, but she kept repeating the same thing over and over again. She said it was about man's inhumanity to man, not about race. So, but this kind of ignorance, and this is willful ignorance, really permeates the left. And it is hard to be online and see some of the garbage people have said about Iran in its defense.
Oh, absolutely. And as somebody who came from the left, you really have to ask these questions. Okay, if you're safe because people don't know that you're a Jew, what happens when they find out? What happens when they find out? So if you're saying that visibility is equal to unsafety, then the only cure you're offering these people is that they should hide themselves. You're saying you're absolutely fine because so long as nobody knows you're a Jew, you'll be safe. Then you shouldn't practice your religion openly. You shouldn't have you shouldn't wear anything that denotes that you might be of that faith. And in fact, they did have access to know exactly who the Jews were in Nazi Germany. They obviously have documents. They obviously have names. They obviously have passports and birth certificates. And that is exactly why it was a Holocaust at that time. And ironically, it is the same thing that they are bringing to the Western world today, because by disseminating this propaganda that is so pro authoritarians and terrorists, just because they happen to be the ones that are fighting Jews, right? Mm-hmm. People are now rallying behind the most dangerous and authoritarian regimes in the world just because of this impulse of anti-Semitism that they have in them. And that is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. They voted for the party that promised to go against Jews, and they brought in a dictatorship. And that's exactly what they're going to do if they keep going down this line.
Elika, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Elika.
Thank you.
That is wild. I'm bringing up some more stories, some more stuff that we gotta watch here. I'm putting it together right now, so bear with me as I put this together for me and you. Yeah, let's pause this here. I'm gonna set up like 4 more stories for us to watch, so that way we'll be entertained. Because this is all this that I'm watching. I'm watching it for the first time with you guys. This is the reason why I wanted to do my show this way, because I wanted to share my energy. Share my energy of current events, things that are going, the energy that is being projected now. You know, everyone's stuck at the past, but I'm working with the energy of the present, and that's okay. People have their ways of working with energy, but me, I'm implementing my energy to feel out stories that are projected to us and to give you what my brain is processing live. And then you could share what you're processing live through the comments. That's the purpose of my show now. My show has like changed throughout the years, and it evolves into something more bigger, deeper, and and we get to use our powers to do different things, and people migrate off of the show and they go do their own things, which I encourage and I love, and it gives room for new people to come through and enjoy the what I can do, and open their minds to doing, because it's not always all about me, it's about everyone else too. But I got these ready. Let me just show you guys Jerusalem. This is Tel Aviv, actually. Alive. Let's make it live. All right, this is a live look. And let me fix this here. There we go. And let's make this a little bit bigger. It's a beautiful day there in Israel. Such a beautiful day. We couldn't ask for a more beautiful day. We could take a look at the Western Wall before we continue the news. Let's check in everywhere. As you can see, there's individuals there praying at the Western Wall. And here's a look from the outside of the Western Wall. Let me make it live here. This is from the outside. And as you can see, it's going to be interesting. Will Iran attack the Western Wall? Will they go for a sacred area, an area where prayer is done on a daily basis? That would be wild if that was to happen. So let's go ahead and continue on with the news. I just wanted to check in on certain areas of Israel, and it seems like the day is progressing. And let's go back to the news.
And we start with a Fox News alert. The White House says President Trump will decide if the U.S. will become involved in Israel and Iran's conflict within the next 2 weeks.
Alexandria Hoff, live at the White House.
Make sure you drink water.
Good morning, Alex.
Drink water.
Good morning to you guys. Yeah, the president.
Every time I say drink water, drink water.
Sitting down, meeting with his National Security Council, as he will continue to do so throughout the weekend. This is as this timeline has been set, this 2 weeks for Iran to opt for a diplomatic route, an off-ramp out of this whole thing. That is something that the White House feels that should be done if they want to avoid grave consequences.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
And by to go, they mean to get involved there. Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu states that he trusts President Trump's judgment on this. Also, that Israel, he feels, is capable of destroying Iran's nuclear threat on its own. The U.S., though, is the only nation globally with the possession of a bomb that could reach Iran's nuclear enrichment site, Fordo, which is built deep into the mountainside. Fox News has been told that the White House has no doubt that bunker busters, as they are called, could do the job. White House official says no options, including a tactical nuke, have been taken off the table. The Chinese President Xi Jinping has offered to mediate talks between Iran and Israel. A foreign ministry spokesperson stating this: China stands ready to continue enhancing communication and coordination with all parties, pool their efforts, uphold justice, and play a constructive role in restoring peace in the Middle East. But China's intentions, as usual, aren't really so clear here, especially given the mystery transport flights that last week occurred. Several Boeing 747s were spotted leaving China for Iran, and their exact flight routes were kind of mysterious there. One thing we want to mention is Fox News has just confirmed that the FBI is increasing surveillance of Iranian-backed potential operatives here in the U.S. So there is something happening on the domestic front as well to avoid conflict in the Middle East. The president right now is still scheduled to attend the NATO summit that will be taking place next week in the Netherlands, guys.
Yeah, that's significant news there, Alex. Yeah. You know, the administration now boosting the monitoring of possible Iran-backed cells in the U.S. as President Trump awaits his decision.
So Alex, Iran came out and says they're not going to give up enriching and they're not going to surrender. So thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Why have talks?
Exactly.
The whole problem is if they just would enrich outside the country, they could have delayed this whole thing. They have not changed postures, even though they've lost between 50 and 70% of their launchers, their nuclear scientists, their intelligence, their leading intelligence officials, as well as their commanding generals. So they've almost used all their ballistic missiles, and they still don't want to change. Why are we even having talks?
Yeah, well,
what are the Europeans talking about? What are they even pledging to do? Where do you start?
I think it was smart for Donald Trump to say, let's try to negotiate. He did that. He gave them 60 days, and then they went past 60 days, and he said, I'm losing patience with this. So we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Senator Tom Cotton said it has to be closed, talking about the Fordo nuclear site, the one that's way underground. He said it has to be closed one way or another. Either we'll do it the easy way or the hard way. It's really up to Iran.
Yeah, and what comic relief with China and Russia saying we'll broker peace. Yeah, they cause unrest, and they've also helped arm Hamas and Hezbollah because their arms have been found as the Israelis have gone in.
And they continue to hammer those proxies and really put them on their back.
Not a good time to be an Iranian proxy if you're thinking about applying for something this summer. Meantime, more than 60 Israeli Air Force fighter jets struck dozens of military targets in Tehran overnight.
And Iran launching a new wave of ballistic missiles into southern Israel, hurting at least 5 people.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying at least half of Iran's missile launchers have been destroyed as officials work to clean up the damage. Let's go straight to Mike Tobin, who's live on the ground in Tel Aviv with the latest. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Griff. And the Israeli military says their fighter jets are back in the air right now over central and western Iran, striking targets. As we say that, we've got remarkable video, not necessarily of a missile making impact here in Israel, but of shrapnel coming down. A large missile fragment came down yesterday in central Israel. It's a piece of an Iranian missile. It made a giant hole in the pavement after being hit by an Israeli interceptor. Meantime, the head of the International Atomic Agency spoke exclusively to Fox News. He said Iran had enough uranium for several bombs and was just a quick step away from enriching to weapons grade. However, he says Iran had not begun the final steps to make a bomb. And despite the recent warfare, he still believes the path to preventing a bomb is diplomacy.
I think internationally there is a consensus that Iran should not be nuclearly armed. We are the international corps of inspectors, and we know what you would need to check in order to prevent this from happening. So let's see what's happening, and we believe that the opportunity should be seized, as President Trump said. But of course, the space for that is narrowing.
Southern Israel took another strike from an Iranian missile today. A single missile got through the defenses and hit near an industrial and apartment complex in the town of Beersheba. Damage and fire resulted, but no reports of injuries. That is the same town where yesterday a missile hit the Soroka hospital. Israel says the fighter jets hit some 35 targets overnight, missile systems and supporting equipment. And a drone was taken out over the north of Israel today using new technology. Israel says this is the first time they used the Barak system to take out a drone over Israel. Barak in Hebrew means lightning. Guys, back to you.
Is that the laser?
Probably the laser.
Is that the laser?
No, it looks like an object zipped through the sky and hit that drone.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. It's amazing how many systems they have going. Thanks, Mike.
They're coming up with some weapons.
Coming up shortly to expand
I
on
tell you, the
this.
future is laser.
Relations coming out
They
of the
need
region,
to start
and we'll talk
using
about
lasers.
what the options are going forward.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
They have to use lasers. I've been saying this for the longest. You know, I'm a psychic for a reason. I see things, I hear things, and they're coming up. They have to have different weapons. I think what Iran is doing is getting rid of their. They're not using their good shit. They're just using a lot of older stuff that they have stockpiled, and. You may think, oh, they took out their rocket launchers. You took out this and that. Okay, you took out the old shit. A lot of the equipment, the heavy duty stuff, is really deep underground, and that's the issue. It's really hidden underground. I got a couple of more stories to go through. And this try to zip through here because I'm gonna get my day started too. I don't want to be on here for too long because I'll be back on here later on tonight to do the evening show. So let's continue with the news. Let's watch this one. So let me set it up and okay. Set up the camera here and let's watch together because I have not seen this. We're seeing it for the first time, you and I, and those who are rewatching. Thank you.
The Human Rights Council is giving the stage to the foreign minister of the radical Iranian regime. The Iranian regime that jails women for their hair, that hangs LGBTQ plus.
Hey, good morning, Eric.
And that kills
how you doing, brother?
Demanding freedom. Instead of rolling out the red carpet for an Iranian henchman, the HRC, the Human Rights Council, should begin with a moment of silence for Iran's victims.
Yeah.
This is another sign of the
lasers.
hypocrisy and moral
Yes.
decay of the
I always believed like God was not like what we truly think and believe or how they told us. I always felt like he's an entity, but not from here. And people, us people worship a lot, and we tend to come to conclusions too quick.
On matters pertaining to human rights. For decades, Iran has been spreading chaos in the Middle East and beyond, either by itself or by its terrorist proxies. The Iranian strategy is based on destabilizing the whole region to expand its extremist ideology. Imagine what Iran would do with a nuclear weapon. The Iranian regime is an imminent existential threat to Israel. The radical Iranian regime has an operative plan to exterminate Israel, developed over many years, with its nuclear weapon program and its ballistic missiles arsenal, together with its proxies. The Iranian regime has accelerated the completion of its nuclear weapons program. There is absolutely no civilian purpose for the quantity level of highly enriched uranium that the Iranian regime possesses. It has also dramatically expanded the production of its vast arsenal of ballistic missiles, capable of reaching Israel within minutes. It aims to achieve the capability to produce more than 10,000 long-range ballistic missiles. It has invested billions to achieve this ability that would enable it to reach deep into Europe. We are currently witnessing the damage that these missiles can inflict. Israel had to act now to eliminate the imminent existential threat posed by Iran's nuclear and ballistic capabilities. We have achieved extraordinary success thus far, but there is still much work to be done to destroy the nuclear weapons program and ballistic arsenal and neutralize the threat. We are operating in the name of regional stability and global security, and we expect the international community to be clear and steadfast in support of removing the imminent existential threat against Israel.
Good day, Mutang. I hope you're having a great day.
I would like to stress, Israel only attacks
you're having a good day.
military objectives and strategic weapons. Israel's choice of targets is conducted responsibly and meticulously. Despite misinformation propagated by the Iranian regime, Israel does not attack population centers. Israel takes further measures to prevent harm to individuals who are not taking direct part in hostilities.
Mutang, you can talk all you want, girl.
The
Like,
Iranian regime continues
there's
to
a free-for-all
deliberately
here.
target population centers in Israel. Some 450 missiles and hundreds of UAVs have caused over 1,000 civilian injuries, and 24 people have been killed, including children. More than 6,500 people have been evacuated from their homes, and more than 25,000 civilian properties have been reported damaged by the attacks. I have a what's the picture? Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry, I got the wrong list. Hold on. Give me a second. I have to read this. I have to read this right. This is what they gave me. Shit. I'm fucking up here. Okay. I think I got my script right. Hold on. Let me get my script. Okay, let's go. All right, let me find my place. Where was I? Oh, shit. I fucked up, and they're watching. Damn it. Okay, hold on. I think I got it. Oh, damn. Taking too much time. I don't know what to say now. There we go. Oh, no, not yet. Here we go.
Family who were murdered by an Iranian missile in their hometown Tamra in the north of Israel. Manar Hatib and her two daughters, Shada, 20 years old, and Halla Hatib, 13 years old, together with their aunt, who is also named Manar. Yesterday, an Iranian missile targeted and hit one of the major hospitals in Israel, the Soroka Hospital, which is also the largest hospital in the south of Israel. Soroka is a civilian target. It is a civilian hospital that is being targeted by the Iranians. Soroka Hospital is famous for treating the Muslim community in the south of Israel, the Christians, the Jews in the south of Israel, the Bedouin community. There are also many doctors who are Bedouin and Christian and Muslim and Jews.
I'm sorry, but I'm not feeling sympathetic though. They want to push this sympathy, like they want to gather sympathy. I'm not sympathetic. I'm sorry. I mean, listen, you're at a war that you started preemptively. You could have possibly came to a conclusion in your minds that something like this was going to happen. Okay? I'm just saying.
Mr. Ambassador, the meeting that's taking place today between the Iranian foreign minister and the European foreign ministers, what do you hope to see emerging from that meeting? Thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy. 400,000 dead.
It's clear Israel is not part of that meeting.
Palestine.
We expect the European foreign ministers to take a firm stance vis-a-vis Iran.
But they did have
and
some
demand that
bad characters in the Palestinian
the dismantling of
within the
ballistic missile
Palestinians, and
and program
hopefully they could
putting
clear them
an
out and then bring back the proper Palestinian people that land belongs to, and
terrorist proxies.
let them live prosperly. You know, I don't like this land grab Israel's planning to take over Gaza. I mean,
Israel consider
this sucks.
will Israel consider pausing strikes on Iran if you see progress coming from the Europeans today in talks? And are you convinced and satisfied
Yeah, that
this
sucks,
diplomatic
man.
route could be enough to address
The
your
children is what
concerns
hurts,
regarding
you
Iran's
know?
nuclear program?
Well, as I said before, Israel is not part of the meeting that took place this morning in Geneva. We have our goals, which I described to you here today, and we haven't yet fulfilled our goals. So we are continuing. Thank you very much.
That is wild. Let's check out this drone here. I want to see.
To our live now from Fox Studios, we are following some breaking news. Take a good look at your screen. The very latest from Israeli Defense Forces, bright and early on this Friday morning. They say, quote, on X, what did the IDF accomplish in Iran overnight? They go on to say 60 plus fighter jets struck dozens of military targets in Iran using approximately 120 munitions. Taking that video full for you so you can see how all of that developed. They go on to say, quote, several industrial sites used to manufacture missiles were struck in the Tehran area. These sites
look like
serve as a
drones.
key industrial center for the Iranian Ministry of Defense. They go on to say
But
the
they're blowing them out of the
SPND
sky.
headquarters in Tehran were struck. This building was used for the development of advanced technologies and weapons supporting the Iranian regime's military capabilities. They finalized this statement by saying, quote, 4 UAVs launched from Iran were intercepted. Now, as we're showing the latest from IDF, I do want to transition and show you the latest video that came out showing how this strike impacted the area. So transitioning the screen now to show you the latest video from the area with the back and forth from Israel and Iran. And again, this is Israel said it conducted airstrikes into Friday morning in Iran with more than 60 aircraft hitting what it said were industrial sites to manufacture missiles. It did not elaborate on the locations. It also said it hit the headquarters of Iran's Organization of Defense and Innovation and Research. The U.S. in the past has linked that agency to alleged Iranian research and testing tied to the possible development of nuclear explosive devices.
Here or in your neighborhood.
We're also learning Israeli airstrikes reached into the city close to the Caspian Sea this Friday. Iranian media confirming that to the Associated Press. The Israeli military had warned the public to flee the area around that industrial city. But with Iran's internet shut off to the outside world, it's unclear just how many people could see the message. Heading back to Israel, where the paramedic service said missiles hit a residential area in southern Israel, causing damage to buildings. That's what you're seeing on your screen at this hour, this including one 6-story building. They have provided medical treatment to 5 people with minor injuries, such as bruises, smoke inhalation, and anxiety. Of course, this coming a day after at least 80 patients and medical workers were wounded in a strike on the Soroka Medical Center in the southern city of Israel.
I'm like, man, now I gotta fucking move, and I don't want to fucking move, and my fucking place is on fucking fire. Like, I would be so mad. Like, imagine I had to like move all this beautifulness and try to savage as much as I can. You know, that it's so uncalled for, and I know Israel's. You know, it's just fulfilling prophecies and so forth. And, you know, yes, Iran has the weapons, they have material, nuclear material, all that stuff. Yes, that's why they're fighting they're doing, because they know they have it. You know, it's like if they were innocent and didn't have anything, they would be like open arms, come on in, take a tour, see everything, whatever you want to see. There's no problems because we have nothing. Okay. So if you don't have, nothing, you have nothing to worry about, right? But if you do have something, you're gonna fight for it. And you're gonna be, no, I'm not giving up what I have. It's mine. It's all mine. I want to control the world. Type of feeling. It's just a little, it's just weird. So let's go to another story here, and I got a couple of more stories, and we'll do one more about this Iran stuff, and then I got one about COVID, and I have another one about the DMV from my boy Tyson De La Cruz that he released last night, a video. So we're gonna watch that after we watch this last of the. I guess this is more about the Crown Prince of Iran sends a message to Trump as he considers bunker buster strikes within Iran. So I think it'll be an interesting watch. Let's check it out.
In 1979, a massive revolution in Iran brought about the Ayatollah Khomeini to power. The then Shah of Iran and his wife, Her Imperial Majesty Farah Pahlavi, were forced out of their homeland. This is them leaving at the airport. But under the Ayatollahs, the freedom that they promised never materialized. In fact, they cracked down, beating and imprisoning women who refused to wear the hijab, gay Iranians, anyone who dissents. Now the son of the late Shah, His Royal Highness Reza Pahlavi, who has been in exile, is advocating for a new future for Iran. He says he believes that the moment is now. He posted this on social media. Quote,
I need movement
the
in the
Islamic
chat.
Republic has reached
Keep it going.
its end. It is
It
in
actually
the
helped the
process of
algorithm.
collapsing. Khamenei, like a frightened rat, has gone into hiding underground and has lost control of the situation. What has begun is irreversible. I spoke with him moments ago, the exiled Crown Prince of Iran. Here's our talk. Crown Prince, thank you very much for joining us at this historic moment in time. It's good to have you with
That's
us.
sad, Mutang.
Good afternoon, Martha. Good to be with you as well.
Family.
Tell me,
Like in
first
4
of all,
days?
Crown Prince, what is your understanding of what is actually the situation on the ground
Yeah,
right
this is
now
about
in
Iraq
Iran?
too. Iraq war
The
was
latest report that we have had, Martha, is that the control apparatus of the regime is almost collapsing. And we see more and more of that sort of reports that are coming to us from personnel within the military or intelligence that says so, that it's really falling apart much faster than it was, let's say, last week. The problem, however, is that the regime has cut off the nation from any communication. Internet and even landlines are down. Families that are trying to figure out what's happening to their loved ones cannot communicate. And I hope that we can overcome this problem very soon, so the nation is not detached or unable to communicate, which, as you know, is crucial for anything that needs to be done. The regime is so desperate that it's now taking this initiative to impede on the process. But I know we will overcome this. It's a big challenge, and my compatriots are extremely resilient. Many of them have stood, in Tehran, besides those who have left the capital city. And their resolve is amazing. Their courage is really amazing. It's a shout out to them that despite all the hardship, they believe that this time victory is near. And we need that courage and that moral support that the world needs to also give us, that this time they're going to be on our side rather than continue thinking that this regime will ever provide a solution. Historic opportunity to put an end to all the problems, not just the nuclear threat, but every other thing that has been associated with this regime ever since it took over. And I think my compatriots have proven that despite the threats, despite the repression, despite being executed, besides being tortured, besides being shot in the eye, they're still in the streets, standing firm, and hopefully at some point the world will say, now it's time for us to step in and allow for this process to take its natural course, help the Iranian people overcome this regime, because everybody as a result will benefit. Not just my compatriots, of course, but I think many people around the world will understand how different a different Iran could be for all of us.
We know that President Trump is currently considering the use of a bunker buster bomb on the Fordo facility in Iran, which is believed to have a nuclear facility buried deep into the ground. What would you say to President Trump as he considers that option?
One of the concerns that often is associated with hitting nuclear facilities is the risk of radiation. That could be something very important to contemplate. I hope it doesn't get to this point. I think there's enough damage done to the regime without having to take it to the next level. But if the objective finally is for this regime to completely collapse, the better element, much stronger than a bomb and much more effective, are the people themselves.
I mean, I wouldn't
I'll
want
tell you
the soldiers to be sent
Martha,
there.
in the past 48 hours,
Let me pause
and of
this.
course even before that, but especially as a result of.
Let me pause this for a sec. We're halfway through that video. Let's come back to me. What I say is, okay, not the soldiers, because what I would do if I was in charge, I was the president of the United States, and I'm at the Oval Office. This is my desk where I sign everything. I would round up all these protesters causing chaos and causing havoc throughout the United States. All these individuals that have too much time in their hands. Well, we can send them to a training facility, maybe a reprogramming facility, they would call, and we'll turn these little activists into soldiers. And this is what's called a draft. And we draft all these individuals, we'll train them up, and we'll send them to Iraq, send them to Iran, and fight a ground war. If it comes to a ground war, it should be dumb going and fighting for our country. And make sure you bring your flags, bring your Mexican flags, bring all your country flags, bring it with you. Because I tell you right now, in Iran, they don't give a fuck. They will kill you. They don't care what country you come from, what your beliefs are. They don't care what fucking pronouns you use. They're not about that business. You know what I mean? And it feels like an outside intrusion, trying to push this agenda to the world and force it on to the war and force it to other places. Like the other day I saw this banner, Queers for Palestine. Like, what the fuck? If you were a queer in Palestine, you would be dead. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness! Like, it's just really like. I'm not gonna stress myself out here. I'm stressing myself out. But hold on. Let me go to the chat. I'm trying to look at the television, but I'm smoking, so it changes my vision with my glasses, and then I don't see it like too good. It freaking sucks. And then even my phone, I have to like put it away from me to be able to see. Fuck that, told us. Yeah. Here's so many supporters. Iran is home. Yeah, Iran has a lot of history, man. They have a lot of history. Like the Nash military. Yeah, how do you feel about American soldiers being? No, I'll get the fucking protesters to go over there. Since they want to burn cars and destroy things and they want to fight, well, we could send them over there. Send them to Iran and let them fight for their country. If they want to represent Mexico, then represent Mexico. It doesn't matter. You want to be representing the United States and you want us to feel bad for you because we sent you there, then that's another story. But you're gonna have to fight for your keep, right? You're living in the United States for a reason, and I think you should be more appreciative of it. Just my opinion, right? If you make it, you are allowed to come back There are many people that opposes the regime, though, but the regime is cruel and violent. Yeah, they are. That regime is fucking like a regime change. I agree. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to it because the regime that they have now is just really like they're barbaric. They are very mean, very mean. Not really. They don't give you a chance. You know, it's like it's what they say is what goes. Yeah, I know. No, Palestinians should be able to live in Palestine and live in peace and not in fear. You know, it's just it is what it is. You know, it's there's a lot of bad within the good there and over there and in that area of Palestine, and Al Qaeda and all these other Hamas and all these other groups. They're like I don't know. They're like fleas, you know, and they're in the country and they are among the people, and you got to weed them out. You got to take them out. A lot of them are hiding in tunnels. A lot of them are like they're disguised within the people. It's very hard. It's hard to distinguish who's who from you know because that's the thing. You don't know who's who. And that's the problem we have here in the United States, that we had an open border for fucking 4 years because of Joe Biden and his policies, and Kamala Harris with so-called border czar that wasn't border czar. I don't know. I'm fucking confused. Is this called gaslighting? Yes. Like they gaslit the hell out of us and they left the border open for 4 years, and we have sleeper cells that are in here and we don't know what they're capable of yet. I do, because they're very like dangerous people that are here, and everyone's life in the United States is in danger. It is. And all it takes is an order, and they can execute, and they do have weapons, they do have drones, they do have a lot of things that they brought in through the border to really do harm to the public. So it sucks, but it's kind of like our own president, our own government sabotaged us, the American people. We were sabotaged. And the fact that they're already here and they're like, you know, it's too late. They're here. You know, how are we gonna get these people out of here if they blend within the community? Because we are a immigrant nation, right? So it's hard to judge who is who, to be honest with you. It's hard. It's not easy. This is not like we're finding Waldo. It's like it's that hard. You know? It's wild. But let's continue with the news here. And then I got a couple of more stories to show.
This latest campaign. Many elements within the military have reached out to me. They're communicating the fact that they're ready to defect. They're ready
I know. We can share opinions. That's the
regime.
fun part,
They're
you know?
to join with the
When there's
people
more
and
people and
demonstrate that to
you
the
can share your
people.
opinions,
Some elements within the intelligence
that's what makes the show even
sector,
better.
as well as the bureaucratic setup. We are seeing more and more defections beginning to take place, which is something that I anticipate and I have called for,
girls
because they realize that it's pointless to stay there and try to defend a regime that doesn't care about the nation, that doesn't care about our country.
Yeah, that's
And
why you have to be careful with your surroundings,
proud nationalists.
They could uprise anywhere in the world.
That their job is to protect the nation, not to kill people under the regime's orders. So this element is one of the factors that is beginning to happen. I hope that in any consideration that we have,
drink water
including
time.
President Trump,
Every time I say drink water, you have to drink water.
This is something that is beginning to become more and more tangible. So I think a strategic pause might be required at some point to allow that process to demonstrate itself and allow the regime to start falling on its own weight.
When we have to drink water,
and
we'll
we
have
are
to drink water
living these moments as I speak to you right now. So I hope it doesn't get to a point that we have to go even further. But again, I'm not a military strategist, nor am I an advisor to the president. I'm just telling you that Iranians would hope that instead of our country being targeted militarily, and as painful as it is as a patriot to see that my country has been attacked, and I've always thought that we should try to avoid at the most possible such confrontation, just because diplomacy has failed.
I feel the
and
energy.
instead allow for the process of change at the hand of the people themselves.
It's good to drink water.
So I hope that they consider that as a critical factor, as opposed to our
putting
only
water
option
in our
after failed
radiator.
diplomacy is further military strikes.
Understood. So you
But we needed to.
you would
for
not want
hydration.
to see the United States use this bunker buster at Fordo. Is that correct? You would discourage that.
Well, I hope that as the regime is crumbling, is that enough of a factor to have neutralized it sufficient that it cannot do anything harmful, at least in the immediate? Because the whole argument about striking is because of the imminence of the regime's threat. But they've been completely dismantled. The apparatus of air defense, the apparatus of retaliation is almost taken out. So I think that sort of pushes back a little bit the envelope, which would allow sufficient time for another phenomenon to occur, which is the one I just explained.
It's going
to
to take
you.
like
Allow the
10
Iranian
of
people
them from
to
that place.
overcome this regime.
Probably more
Have
because
them
that
do
place looks
because
deep.
that option is always on the table. But what's the rush here? People are to them the ultimate factor. That's what scares the regime the most. So the more the people are empowered, the quicker we can reach that end.
So you have said that you don't seek power, but you are ready to fulfill a duty if called upon. If the people supported or asked you to return as Shah for a period of time during transition, would you be open to that option?
I don't think I need a title to perform as a transitional leader. I think the reason people are looking for me to play that role is because of their confidence in me, their trust in me, and I think to a great extent the track record that I've demonstrated in the past 44 years since I've begun. And that trust in me allows me to play that national leader role, if you will, and be able to be the element that assembles people together on a common agenda, knowing that we might differ in opinion, but we are committed to the democratic outcome. So I don't think I need to have any particular title. That would be putting the carriage before the horse, so to speak. Let us be focused on the job at hand. The job at hand is eliminate this regime and replace it with a secular democratic
What do you know about the
and this is exactly the end game that I'm looking at, and I'm not looking past that one at this
he
time.
should know.
I'm focused only on this mission, and I hope my competitors will understand that we need not prematurely discuss issues that will be determined down the line.
So he's encouraging the people to change the trajectory in Iran more so than the potential of a bomb destroying Fordo. So we're going to have more of our conversation in just a moment.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
He knows what's in there. You know, it's like he knows what's in there. Let's see this one. The Benny Show. I saw this. He came out with this earlier today. Actually, it was like last night as I was sleeping. So let's check this out real quick. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. Maybe I'll go parts of it, and then we'll see. Well, maybe the whole thing. We'll see. Let's go ahead and start it.
Benny, there's a bit of a turf war going on right now as to who's real MAGA and what the America First movement actually means. Now, if you're looking for the red, bloody, beating heart of the MAGA movement, look no further than President Trump. The way that he's run his campaigns and the way that he's governed, he is, in fact, the man who stitched Make America Great Again on the red hat. But if you're looking to further intellectualize from a policy perspective what MAGA means in practice, well, you can't do better than Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon, who've both devoted their lives to this mission. And, of course, Steve Bannon is the primary reason President Trump beat Hillary Clinton, and there is a MAGA movement at all in this country. Remember, the Russia PP dossier was supposed to be the prosecuting documents to put Trump in prison for just the crime of running against Hillary Clinton. Trump got the last laugh there, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, what is the greatest threat to President Trump right now? Is it the neocon war pigs who run Washington, D.C. because, well, war is the only commodity in Washington, D.C.? The only reason that everyone's so rich there is the war machine, obviously. It's the only thing D.C. creates and can create. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tucker and Steve were ripping the bark off of that industry and some of the people who are trying to push for a new forever war. And while Tucker talked about that on Steve Bannon's program yesterday in a surprise live hit on War Room, Steve Bannon was able to facilitate a incredibly fascinating conversation on Tucker's program, talking about insurrection, what's going on in LA, the deep state, and tying the war in a through line from the LA riots back to the Confederacy, all the way through to Democrat activism today, and why this war may be kicking off right now, saying that there's really suspicious timing to all of this. This is an unbelievably fascinating takeaway. Let's listen to the masters themselves.
Hey, so let me ask you, you've made a couple of allusions. I almost don't want to ask you because it's upsetting, but to the country coming apart.
Yeah.
To conflict here. Clearly, there's been a rise in violence. This weird Minnesota story, which I'm not even going to ask you about because I don't understand it at all. I don't think anybody does. But I want to ask you about what's happening in California. It does seem like resisting federal authority on immigration is an act of sedition more profound than anything they did at Fort Sumter in 1861. And this is not resolved. Like, what are we watching right now in California with Gavin Newsom?
You're from DC. I'm from Richmond.
Yeah.
I'm raised in Richmond. And I keep telling people, I thought we settled this about federal law and states' rights and succession in the mid 1860s. We had a civil war to determine the outcome of this. We've had that discussion. We've had that argument. It's been settled. I said this to President Trump in the first term, that this whole thing of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states is absolutely a neo-Confederate, mentality.
Yes.
That you can have. Gavin Newsom, right?
Have you said that on War Room?
Yes, I've said
it's neo-Confederate.
He's
so smart.
It's a neo-Confederate.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Jackson.
I'm stealing that, by the way.
No, because
so good.
Jackson. Look, he had this thing.
I like when you see these two,
they're
like two nerds. I love it.
On tariffs, where they remember the landed aristocracy in South Carolina were some of the richest people. I think Charleston had more what would be equivalent to billionaires.
Yes.
At the start of the Civil War than any place on earth.
And it shows in the Battery down
there.
It's
a magnificent city
it is.
Today.
He's
Johnson
eating popcorn.
As vice president was going to stop and go down and defend South Carolina. Said, we're not going to do these tariffs. And Jackson said, I'm going to call the army down there. And if Calhoun's defying me, I'm going to hang him from the first lamppost. I mean, Jackson was a guy who was going to take immediate action. What's happening in California is kind of the equivalent. You've had the sanctuary cities. And if President Trump had not sent the troops in and federalized the National Guard, what happened in LA was what we see in all these cities. It would have exploded. It would have been the summer of love of 2025, where there was a lot more rhetoric than actually action. One of the reasons President Trump had Bill Barr and Esper and all these people that wouldn't execute what he wanted. Now he's got a team. And that's why I'm so glad he came out last night and says, I'm doubling and tripling down the rates. My recommendation on the show the day after this stuff happened over that weekend was President Trump ought to triple the ICE raids, and he ought to go to schools. Hey, they got to go, right? They have to go, and it's not pleasant. We got to be very humane about it, but you have to have a show of force. And if you need to send in the army, if you need to send it in federalized National Guard, we have to do it. California is the railhead of this. That's why you have to break it there. It's going to obviously pop up in Chicago and New York, but you have to take, and Stephen Miller said this, and I've known Stephen a long time. Andrew and Stephen Miller and Ben Shapiro, Alex Martin, they all came out of kind of West LA, right? Ben may have been the Valley, but they're all West LA guys. Stephen Miller's been saying since the time I knew him, the war for America is going to be won or lost on the streets of Los Angeles. He said this now for almost 20 years. And this is what this fight, and this is what's so disturbing about the timing. We're totally focused on that, and President Trump actually implementing the deportations of mass deportations. And all of a sudden, this thing breaks out in Persia, in the Middle East, and now the whole country is just focused on that.
It's almost like a time diversion to get our attention.
Feel that way
because Bibi gave it up. It didn't have to happen on Thursday night. We were told what was leaks. Oh, there's a bomb and they're going to have it. And, this is something they have to have immediately. He comes on Brett Baer and says, well, it's 12 or 13 months.
Yeah, the rise is still going on.
Months for 20 years. Maybe it is 12 or 13 months, but that doesn't mean you have to act on Friday. Why is it Thursday and Friday when we're in the middle of actually the most important part of this third world war? Is the 10 million invaders we've had in this country, or 20 million according to President Trump, they all have to go. You understand that there's many bad actors that came in on this, right? That are now sleeper cells in this
I've been
country.
saying this for
Everybody's
years.
got to go, and we have to do it. That is
years.
When I talk about third world war, the central battlefront for the United States of America is internal to the United States of America. This is why we have to focus on this in the timing, because there's no coincidences of how all of a sudden we're asked to do bombing runs in Iran, a half a world away, and it sucks up all the media attention that you don't even, there's not even a discussion on this. And that's why President Trump coming out and doubling down. And Homan and Stephen Miller, there ought to be 3 more raids tomorrow, and we got to get the focus back on that.
The true insurrectionists, right? Yes. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary voters, sanctuary welfare policies. Like this, of course, is patently illegal. It can't be allowed. Now, the full interview is up on Tucker's site. Obviously, it's an hour and a half. I encourage you to watch every second of it, just like I encourage you to watch Dee Banna's interview with Tucker. But one more major takeaway here. The question of the 2024 election, mass deportations versus mass incarceration. What kind of country you want to live in? An amazing breakdown here of like what this Trump moment means.
Orville Faubus, who was the governor of Arkansas in 1956, presides over the state that refuses to desegregate.
That's the problem.
After
They're
the Supreme Court
reaching
says you have to
uranium.
desegregate,
They're not
Brown
supposed to
versus
do
Board.
that.
And Dwight Eisenhower,
You know?
not a liberal, says
They haven't
you
reached
can't
uranium. They're not
ignore
supposed to have that.
federal authority on
So
a federal issue. This is a Supreme Court decision.
even
And he
if it's a
sends
bomb
the
or not a
101st Airborne
bomb,
to Little Rock
the
to Central
problem
High
is
School and says,
they're not
sorry, you're
supposed
gonna
to be
desegregate. Now, whatever you
enriching
think of
uranium.
that, it's kind of disgusting in certain ways, but it's
So,
also essential
you know,
to preserving the
that's-
union.
That's
I mean,
the issue.
I don't understand. Like, how can you have your biggest state being like, no, to the federal government? Like, what?
On a central issue.
On a central issue.
Yeah,
On a
about our
central, who
sovereignty.
lives here?
Yes.
Who takes federal benefits? You know,
Who's actually a citizen? Who has allegiance to this country?
who gets
Yeah,
to choose
this
our
is
leadership?
just a lot of things that
in a
that goes
democratic
on
system.
under the ground
radical
that
neo-Marxist
the
Democratic
world
Party will fight.
does
This is
not
the
even
hill they
know.
will die on.
I
Sure, but I
believe
don't
they do
understand how
have
you can put up
weapons.
with
I
that.
believe they do have.
How can you put up with that? That's like
I don't
maybe
know
a
if they
little
have
more
an
important
atomic
when Iran
bomb,
gets the bomb.
but I know
you
that they
can't-
do
and by the way,
have.
the American
They do have
people-
nuclear
the American
weapons.
people don't. I
They
think
do,
it's like
but it's so far
60-40,
deep
where they agree
underground
with President Trump
that
on these
bunker
mass
buster bombs.
deportations. Remember,
I don't
one of
think
the reasons
we'll
we're
be
winning the
able to
African American
reach
vote is President Trump does not
that
believe
far
like the
deep.
Democratic Party and
We're
Kamala
talking
Harris
about
in mass
like
incarcerations.
cavities that are
He
like
believes in mass
in the
deportation.
mountain,
When
and
I
it
was in
goes
prison,
about
the only thing I put
500
up from
feet deep.
Danbury was like on the 26th
You know,
of
they go
August. and
really,
victory's
really,
at
really
hand.
deep, and
I
it's
can tell
fortified.
from the prisoners in
So
Danbury,
it's like
young Hispanics and blacks who hate the Democratic Party.
it's gonna
And
take
they
a long
particularly
time
hated
to
Kamala
be able
Harris.
to try
They said,
to
look,
penetrate
the Democratic Party is for mass
and try to
incarcerations to
disrupt
break our
just
families
one
and to
area.
make us dependent
Imagine
upon
this
the
is
government.
all
I mean,
over the
these guys
country.
were smarter than guys
That's-
going to
that's-
Yale in the political science department because it's a
Uh,
lived experience of them.
And you know,
And they support
Pakistan
mass
has been
deportations
helping
because in a place like
Iran. We
Danbury,
know China
10%
has
of the
been
prison
helping
is bad
Iran.
hombres
We know Russia's
from
been
these other
helping
countries
Iran.
that are the most
I
dangerous
feel like the 4 years of
criminals,
the Biden
convicts you
years
have in these
fucked
prisons.
everything up,
People at the
and
street level have
you
our
know,
back on this. This is this new
fucking
coalition.
Biden gave
But we
Iran
have to,
$6 billion.
succeed in this. We have to
So
succeed in the deportations and
that's a
getting
lot of
wages
money.
to rise. In fact, I think there was just something in the Wall Street Journal. They said wages for low-skilled workers are coming up.
Yeah.
Right? Because guess what? You have less non-citizens here competing against the people in their own country shouldn't have to compete against a non-citizen for a job. This is President Trump's the centerpiece of the entire Make America Great Again movement.
This is
Finally,
like
since the thing that's bringing these
this
two
is
men
like it's
together
a chess match. You know what I mean?
is to warn
So,
Trump against
compared
involving
to the
America
past, to the
in
present,
further
and then to the
forever war
future,
adventurism throughout
and
the
where
world.
humanity is going,
The
we
full
know
rip-roaring
the end is
takedown
coming
of
soon.
the neocon
Just might
files
as well
in
just get
Washington,
to it
DC.
already.
Just
Before I die, I would like to see everything
absolute
to
thing
happen.
of beauty.
You know,
like
like
with
rush
a
it. Just-
scalpel.
Just get it done and over with. You know,
This mad scramble in
accomplish what you need to
Washington on
accomplish,
the right
and just
to invoke Trump's name.
you know, we're
by
headed
to make
that
the case that, no,
timeline.
I represent Trump.
You know, it's
He's on my side. I'm
history
true
always
MAGA.
repeats
And then
itself.
you wind up with these kind of
Moon-Tang, don't worry,
hallucinogenic
we'll be
scenes where
back
you had
again.
people who hated
We
Trump,
might come
who were
back
never
with
Trump.
cats,
Mark
but
Levin,
it's okay.
hates Trump, which is
Moon-Tang.
fine. He's
Imagine
like
we come
the
back as
standard bearer for
cats. That would be wild.
But what
I'll be such a
makes it
loyal
even more
cat. I'll
perverse
tell you
is
right
that these
now, I'll
same
be one loyal
people
cat.
are allied with the deep state that is
I'll be an
subverting Trump's
affectionate
stated
cat.
agenda, which is
Affectionate and
negotiation toward
loyal.
peace, both in Ukraine
Absolutely.
and in the Middle East. Trump has said, we want to get to an agreement with a lasting peace so we can all be richer, safer, and happier. And in both places, his so-called allies who secretly hate him,
Yeah, that's why I said the other day that this gives me
And
like
most of
Gulf
those guys
War
are almost
feelings,
all of them
like
to a
back
person
to
work for the
that
Ukraine
time
war.
where they said, "Oh, weapons of mass
People in
destruction."
your audience should understand one
know,
principle thing.
I
We are
talked
farther
about this
down
the
the
other
pike
day.
in a kinetic part of a third world
It's
war
just
than how World War II started. If
very,
if you go back from September 1939, the invasion, the start of
it
the
gives me
European War,
flashbacks
not the Asian.
for
If you
sure.
start
So I
with
have
the invasion
PTSD, so
of
I get
Poland by the
flashbacks.
Germans, and you
like,
go to June of
Bush was
1941,
talking about
the
this,
invasion
and
of Russia by the
after
Wehrmacht,
9/11
and you look at that
also,
time, which really they
that was
called the phony
just.
war. You look
I
at
feel like
the
we're
casualties
reliving.
from the Battle of
We
Britain, the
we
Blitz,
don't
the fall
learn,
of
so
France. You
we
look
gotta
at what
keep
happened in North
repeating
Africa early
over
on,
and
Finland,
over and
throwing
over
300,000
again
Finland.
until
You
we
add
get
it
like
all up,
that
it's not
situation
half of what's
right, and
happened
then we get to
between
progress.
Ukraine and
But
and
until
Gaza
then,
today,
we're gonna
and
keep
now
repeating.
in Persia. We are much bloodier. This is a much. We're in a shooting part of the Third World War. The Third World War is not about to start. It has started, and that's what Trump is saying. What he wants to do is have everybody lay their guns down. Let's get to the table and figure out a tenuous, at least
Those Gulf Wars were
subtle
fucking
peace that we
weird.
can then use
The energy was
capital
weird too
and
during
trade
that time.
and commerce and try to rebuild these countries, and let's get people back to work and maybe tamp this thing down. Whereas the apparatus is exacerbating the conflict part of it. That's where we are right now in the summer of 2025, and this thing is going to be in the next 200 days. The next 200 days are some of the most perilous times for the American Republic in its history.
I would love to be
because
a,
if we don't get
house
this sorted, we're going to be drawn in totally into a conflict as a combatant.
Like I said, I'll be
as
so
not
loyal.
a supplier of logistics, or as an actual combatant.
I might be
a
frisky.
participant in the situation in Ukraine, what they did in Russia, and
probably
the
horny at
situation of what
times.
Israel's right now doing
But I
to
would
the
be
mullahs,
such a loyal
as bad
cat.
as they are and as evil as they are, right? We're going to get sucked into a shooting war of which it'll be 10 years and the casualties will dwarf anything you saw in World War.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe
9/11. I have my
strong and
opinions
earnest
on it. I
debate.
don't know if YouTube would let
Obviously,
me.
President Trump has a steady
Fucking
hand on the
YouTube.
wheel here.
But
He survived the assassin's bullet.
yeah, I talked about it before.
Destroy everything.
I got
destroy his
censored a
legacy.
lot on YouTube.
But Donald Trump is again facing the types of things
But
that you face.
I still have my channel.
Charge of the most powerful movement on earth.
Knock on wood.
Which are fractions and people pulling at the seams.
I've
right?
been one of the lucky ones
gotta make
to
sure
be able to
keep it all
keep the
together.
channel and
That's
not
what we're
have
praying
my
for here.
channel taken away
We don't
from
want to
me.
see Elon snap. We don't want to see
Like a
Tucker,
lot of other people have
or
had.
Bannon off. We don't want to see parts of the movement fracture. The reason why we wanted such historic numbers is because we were able to pull everyone together and not break apart. And so it'd be an absolute shame to see it happen.
Cats played a big
I
role
believe that the American First Movement
in
at its
society.
core is about fixing the problems of this nation, which there
Such
are
a big role that
so
even
many, you
like
can't even count
the
them all.
ancients,
First,
even in Cairo,
trying
Egypt,
to bomb
like they
smithereens
worship the
some other
cat
nation.
and they like put them.
as the
they're
major agenda.
sketch
So why don't we
history,
codify
and they're
President
in
Trump's
history.
executive orders
Cats.
first, the Doge cuts,
And how important
why
they
don't we
were.
get like border funding? Why don't we do some of the things that we promised the voters to do first, and then we can lock it up, ladies and gentlemen, with whatever type of adventurism we want to do abroad. Just a thought.
Yeah.
But that's no one's asking me, so
Smoke
there it
now.
is. Ladies and gentlemen, you should listen to Tucker.
Sitting in
and
front of the
Bannon.
TV all day. Yeah.
You should also subscribe here in case you want just the
Pretty good. Benny Johnson is such a good show, good information. Sometimes I'll bring him up here and we'll show him off. Let's go to this COVID story bullshit. Let's listen in and just it's a 3-minute and 4-second segment. So let's check it out.
Health headlines, what you should know about a COVID variant that may cause a summer wave, why it causes razor blade throat, and what else a severe sore throat could be a sign of. Joining us this morning, Dr. Scott Roberts, Yale Medicine Infectious Diseases Specialist and Assistant Professor at Yale School of Medicine. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us this morning. This latest COVID variant, it's called Nimbus, accounting for about a third of all COVID cases at this point. Do you anticipate a summer wave of this strain at this point?
We're likely to see an uptick in some form. My best prediction is a mild to moderate wave. And this is really because we're starting at a very low point. You know, I haven't seen COVID numbers this low since really the beginning of the pandemic. The past few summers, we've had mild bumps that peak around August. So COVID does seem to hit us about twice a year. And in addition to this virus always mutating and giving us new variants, we're about 6 to 9 months away from prior vaccine and many prior infections from the winter. So immunity has waned as well.
Now, what's known as razor blade throat, a common symptom of this new variant?
Who has razor blade
I'm sure
throat?
that's a term
Like,
that
what
is
up?
very new to a lot of people. Frankly, it was
Razor
new to me when
blade.
I was reading about it this morning.
You know, it certainly sounds scary, but ultimately this is an anecdotal description of what some patients are reporting. But there's no data to suggest this is different than the standard sore throat that people get with COVID. Sore throat, this is a classic symptom of COVID. It hits about 70% of all patients. So I'm suspecting it's just the standard
Sore throat. So, and it says razor blade throat. So, to me, when it says razor blade, that shit don't sound normal. I'm like, okay, you could say like, okay, painful. You could like
many diseases could cause a sore throat. This includes other viruses such as flu, RSV, and even the common cold. It could include bacteria such as those that cause strep throat. And it could even be due to things that aren't infections at all, like allergies. So, but if it's been a week and it isn't going away, that's the point I really encourage people to seek out their doctor just to take a look and see what's going on.
And doctor, are we going to be dealing with these kind of COVID variants in the future just as a rule from now on?
Yeah, you know, it is always mutating and always evolving. But, you know, this new variant, and like many of the last variants, they're still within that Omicron variant family. This isn't a new Greek letter here. So every virus produces new variants over time. And really what we're seeing is that as it slowly marches along and changes, sometimes our immunity can't keep up, and that's when we get an infection. So this is really the standard progression of most seasonal viruses. And ultimately, I'm not too concerned with this Nimbus variant so far.
All right, well, that's certainly good news. All right, doctor, we appreciate your time this morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
So weird. But we're gonna check out my friend Tyson Dela Cruz. He put out a video last night. It's a good 9 minutes and 43 seconds long. So let's take a look. And yeah, DMV workers caught stealing licenses to illegal. So they were caught selling licenses to illegal immigrants. Are you kidding me? So, oh man, this is gonna go deep because you gotta understand, if you could do that with the DMV, then you could do like permits, take out permits and as an illegal, because you have illegal licenses. So if you have the licenses, I'm pretty sure you can pull out permits with those illegal licenses. This is gonna be interesting. Let's watch this and we'll come up with our opinions. Let's go.
8 employees for the DMV were arrested for selling driver's license to more than 1,000 illegal migrants.
America, we just uncovered one of the most dangerous corruption schemes in Florida history. 8 people were arrested for selling over 1,000 commercial driver's licenses to illegal immigrants who never took a single test. Many of these people can't even speak English. We're talking about 80,000-pound tractor trailers being operated by people who can't even read road signs or communicate during an emergency. But here's the kicker. This operation generated over $120,000 in cash and ran for 2 years without even being detected. How many unqualified drivers are on our roads right now?
A lot. And they don't have the like it's crazy.
Where individuals paid bribes in exchange for skipping critical safety evaluations.
Let me be clear that putting untested, unqualified drivers, especially those with commercial licenses, on our roads is an unacceptable risk to every family in this state.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly shows how Biden's open border policies have created a pipeline for criminal activity that puts American families at risk. But we're not just talking about paperwork violations. We're talking about a systematic threat to highway safety. Let me break this down for you. 8 people have been arrested. 2 DMV employees in Bay County were taking cash bribes to issue commercial driver's license without requiring written tests, driving tests, or proof of legal presence.
The scope of this investigation: yesterday we seized over $120,000 in illicit proceeds tied to this operation. Evidence suggests that hundreds, if not more than 1,000 fraudulent driver's licenses were issued as part of this scheme.
But this wasn't just 2 rogue employees. This was an organized criminal network with 6 additional people acting as brokers, funneling illegal immigrants from as far away as Miami to buy these fraudulent licenses. And the scariest part, many of these people can't even communicate in English during a traffic stop. This operation was massive and sophisticated. Over 2 years, investigators estimated that hundreds, possibly over 1,000 fraudulent commercial driver's licenses were issued. They seized over $120,000 in cash. And that's just what they found.
The investigation also led us to arrest 5 additional individuals who are acting as brokers running local businesses that claim to assist with immigration paperwork, but instead arranged illegal transactions and funneled aliens from as far away as Miami to obtain licenses fraudulently.
The 2 DMV employees were working with a network of brokers who were running businesses that claimed to help with immigration paperwork. But instead of legitimate services, they were facilitating criminal fraud on a massive scale. These brokers were bringing people from Miami, hundreds of miles away, to Bay County to buy fake CDLs.
They accepted cash payments to bypass the mandatory requirements such as written tests, skills tests, and proof of residency or legal presence. The more than 1,000 non-domiciled CDLs were allegedly sold from a single DMV office in Florida.
Think about the logistics here. People were traveling hundreds of miles and paying thousands of dollars in cash to avoid taking basic safety tests. This wasn't desperation. This was a calculated criminal enterprise designed to flood our highways with unqualified drivers. And here's what makes this story absolutely terrifying. Many of these illegal immigrants can't even speak English, let alone read English road signs. When there's an accident, how do they communicate with the first responders? When police pull them over, how do they explain what's happening? When they need emergency help, how do they describe their location? We're not talking about regular driver's license here. These were commercial driver's license for 18-wheelers, buses, and other massive vehicles. Commercial trucking requires constant communication with dispatch, reading shipment manifestos, understanding DOT regulations, and navigating complex safety regulations. Get this, all in English. If you can't speak English, you can't handle basic communication requirements of commercial trucking, which raises the obvious question: what are these people really planning to do with these CDLs?
These licenses were essentially sold, not earned. That means we have individuals on the road, possibly operating tractor trailers, who never demonstrated the basic skills to do so safely. It's not a paperwork issue. It's a direct threat to highway safety and a betrayal of the public trust.
We have people operating 80,000-pound vehicles who never demonstrated that they could do so. We're already seeing the deadly consequences of putting unqualified drivers behind massive commercial vehicles. In Austin, Texas, Solomon Weldy Aria crashed a semi into 17 vehicles, killing 5 people, including a child and an infant. 11 others were injured.
Crashed his semi-truck into 17 vehicles in Austin, Texas. Araya's tractor trailer that was carrying goods for Amazon failed to slow down. 5 people were killed at the scene, including a child and an infant.
Aria was driving for Amazon and had been with his company for only 4 months. His truck completely failed to slow down, plowing into 17 vehicles and killing 5 innocent people, including babies. And what happened to him? His bond was reduced from $1.2 million to just $7,000. He's walking free with GPS monitoring while 5 families buried their loved ones. This is what happens when we allow unqualified, unvetted drivers to operate commercial vehicles on our highways. American Truckers United warned about this exact problem 4 months ago,
alleging that Florida was one of 10 states, including California, Illinois, New York, Texas, and Pennsylvania that are flooding the trucking industry with illegal foreign labor.
This Bay County operation reveals a sophisticated criminal network that goes far beyond two corrupt DMV
That's
employees.
crazy.
The investigation led to the arrest of 6 additional people who were acting as brokers and intermediates, running what appeared to be a legitimate immigration assistance business. They executed a search warrant at the business called Cuba Max in Callaway, which was supposedly processing immigration documents, but was actually facilitating a massive fraud scheme. How many other businesses across the country are running similar operations? The fact that people were traveling from Miami to Bay County shows this was part of a larger network with connections across multiple cities and states. This wasn't just some small-time local
If Tyson wants to talk to someone from Miami, he could talk to me.
I think today is
He gotta come and interview me. Because I was born in Miami. I lived in Miami for over
here
30
you've got
years.
hundreds of aliens that
I
are
could tell
cheating,
you
that
a
are
lot.
breaking the law, that are buying driver's licenses without taking the test, getting on the roads, putting everybody in danger.
This is a direct result of Biden's open border policies, creating an environment where criminal networks can operate with impunity. When you don't enforce immigration laws at the border, you create a demand for illegal services like fake driver's licenses. The investigation revealed that this scheme had been running for over 2 years, right during the height of Biden's border crisis. Millions of illegal immigrants flooding into the country, creating a massive black market for documents and services to help them blend
That's a
in
problem
and
that's
avoid
been for
detection.
decades.
And here's what's really concerning. If this is happening in Bay County, Florida, how many other DMV
Decades.
offices across the country are running similar
know
schemes? This investigation needs to go nationwide because the problem is clearly much bigger than one county. America, this story perfectly illustrates why we need to take immigration enforcement seriously. When you create an environment where millions of people enter the country illegally, you create massive demand for fraudulent documents and corruption services to help them avoid detection. The result is non-English speaking drivers operating 80,000-pound vehicles on our highways, putting every American family at risk. 5 people are dead in Austin, including babies, because we're allowing unqualified drivers behind the wheel of a massive commercial vehicle. Kudos to everyone involved for exposing this criminal network, but this investigation needs to be expanded nationwide. If it's happening in Florida, it's happening everywhere. The solution is simple: secure the border, enforce immigration law, and prosecute corrupt officials who put American lives at risk for profit. But that requires leadership that actually prioritizes American safety over political correctness. Every time you see an 18-wheeler on the highway, remember this story. That driver might never have taken a test, might not be able to communicate in English, and might be part of a criminal network that bought their credentials through corruption. I'll keep you updated as this investigation expands. And remember, this is what happens when you don't enforce immigration law. Criminal networks step in to fill the void, and American families pay the price. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, there you go. Tyson De La Cruz. He's one that I picked up for the team. He's definitely a part of this show that I'm doing. So you will be seeing Tyson De La Cruz live here on My Mind Over Your Matter. Really cool dude. Really got a lot in his head, and the way he puts things together and so forth. I'm telling you, I'm picking up good people. Like, this is my dream team. You know, people get dropped off, and we pick up new people along the way. And this is one that's a good pickup. And we'll have more of Tyson in the future. Maybe tonight. Maybe I'll hit him up and see if I can bring him on tonight, and we could talk. Because I'm from Miami. I was born and raised in Miami, so I could tell him everything about that place. The corruption, the scandals. Like, it's very. ICE will have a horrible time in Miami because there's so many illegals that are in Miami. Because DeSantis, he's talked, right, but he needs to act and help, and he knows that he has a problem in South Florida with illegals. So, and it's hard because they're like roaches. They're everywhere and they're scattered everywhere, and they're like the baby ones, the baby roaches that are like everywhere. So it's very difficult. That's a very difficult task, and it's gonna take more than just authority. It's probably gonna take the freaking military to get involved. Um, the worst case scenario, the easy way out will probably be a hurricane hitting South Florida. Will eliminate a lot of the immigrants, and then it'll give them reason to want to stay and help rebuild and earn their keep to stay in this country by helping rebuild. Um, I mean, I think that's a good idea too, but they have to be vetted. They have to be vetted. They have to at least go through a program, and and at least get authority to stay and be able to rebuild. Get permission, and it's not like a forever stay here card, but it's like we're gonna like not enforce it as much. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's horrible, but sometimes it takes a natural disaster for everyone to come together and work together, even with illegals. So it's not like, oh, you're illegal, ew, get away, ew. No, we could. There's gonna be a time where we're gonna all need each other, and but if there's a lot of criminals, which there's a lot of criminals that came from a lot of countries from around the world, and they just came right through the border. We need to get them all out of here. I totally agree about that, but there is going to be collateral damage if they do question you and you don't have papers. Well, expect to be going bye-bye. So it's just, that's just the nature. That's just collateral. We just had a lot of 20 million people. Is a lot. I tell people, think of $20 million in your pocket. How would you feel? You'll be fucking ecstatic. You're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go get my nails done. I'm gonna go get some makeup. I'm gonna buy a new wardrobe, new bras, panties, all that stuff, shoes, and a nice vacation, a nice home, and a nice car, and not have to worry so much, right? Now, turn that around and think of 20 million illegals, and they're eating up everything like a locust, and there's no money, everything's tight, you have bills up the ass, you're struggling, and you can't get a raise because there's too many people working, and then half of the people that are working are illegal, so it eats up the benefits, and it's just not good, right? So that's how I try to plead my case on that. But I do have a video here of a knife-wielding migrant charged with attempted murder. So let's check this story out, because I think it's freaking interesting a little bit. It's creepy. For sure, it's freaking creepy. And I think this will be the last story for the day. And then I'll come back later on this evening and we'll do another one. So here we go. Let's go to the last story. And it's 4 hours and 22 minutes. No, actually, no, 4 hours. 4 minutes and 22 seconds. I like the 4 and the 2. Like, I'm a master number 22, and I'm ending the show with this show. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let's play. Damn it, I gotta get the sound. It's like I had everything perfect until the sound. I always mess up on the sound. Let's go.
Unbelievable. An illegal immigrant charged with attempted murder after police say he chased down the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of New York and threatened to kill him with a knife. The suspect, you see him here, Saul Morales Garcia, is a Salvadoran migrant that was previously
we're
deported,
with pride.
came back in, but he's now being held without bail. U.S. Attorney John Sarcone joins me now to tell the story. John, this is incredible. What happened?
Okay, I'm walking, minding my own business. I was going to go up to the state capitol, which is a couple blocks away from my office, federal courthouse. And I noticed this guy who looked crazy and was near the Hilton Hotel entrance. I could have easily just kept walking, but I sensed that there was danger here, and I have an obligation. I'm the chief law enforcement officer for the federal government in the area. So I crossed the street.
If you commit a crime where you mess with
I kept my
children,
eye on him, and
you're out.
Definitely appeared to be up to something crazy. Instead of keep going, I went across the street and I stood in front of the Hilton, and I kept my eye on him. Didn't look at him directly. Next thing you know, he starts screaming at me in a language I didn't understand. I didn't acknowledge him. I kept looking straight ahead. Then out of the corner of my eye, he starts coming towards me. I turn, I look at him. I still don't say anything. And then he pulls a knife out. He goes like this. And he's screaming at me, and then he charges at me.
Wow. So did you run?
Whoa.
So how did this end?
Okay.
Obviously, you're here and safe.
All right. So I ran towards the lobby, never took my eye off him. And before I got to the lobby, he stopped. He was about 10 feet away from me with the knife and still screaming in a language I did not understand. He turned around and he started walking away. I called the sheriff of Albany County, who I had a personal phone number for. And I said, Craig, you got to get over here. I was just attacked by a maniac with a knife speaking in a foreign language. He said, where? I said, the Hilton. He said, we'll be right there. Now, this guy's walking away. I knew that if he got away, he was going to kill somebody.
Wow. So John, the sheriffs arrest him, but then they tell you they're going to release him.
No way.
Because of the laws of New York State. The bail laws.
No way.
The sheriff said, we can only charge him with menacing and having a weapon. I said, Sheriff, send your deputies back to the Hilton and get the video. He threatened my life because after he walked away, I went to the sidewalk to try to keep him in the area. And I yelled out, and he turned around, he yelled back, and then he came back at me and he goes like this with the knife. And he's going to slit my throat. And then he charged at me again, second time. So I said,
you get him held, but any other citizen in New York, a tourist, a mother with a child, probably would have been injured or even killed. But certainly, even with the arrest, this guy would have been let out. In just the last 15 seconds I got, have you talked to Governor Hochul?
Actually, she called me 8:45 p.m. last night. She was very sympathetic and concerned. And I said to her, I said, look, the sanctuary cities aren't working.
Is she going to do anything about it?
I hope she does.
All right. John Sarcone, thank you. Thank goodness you're safe. And thank you. We look forward to following up and seeing if they do anything in this state to change those bail laws and the sanctuary city protections that this criminal had. John, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
That's wild. That's just wild. And that happened in New York City. You see, I don't go to like, that's Albany. So in Albany, I'm not far from Albany. I'm not far from Albany. How far am I? Let me ask Google. Hey Google, how far? Actually, you know what? No, I can check on my maps. I don't need to ask Google. Albany, New York. It's 2 hours away from where I live. 2 hours. that's a drive, a 2-hour drive. It's not a bad drive either. But the fact that this guy got attacked with someone wielding a knife and screaming at him at a language that he does not understand, a foreign language, and threatening him, I think that's call for, some change needs to happen for sure. It's dangerous times right now. It's calls for dangerous measures. It's just be careful out there. Don't matter where you're at, anywhere in this world, we're all in danger every day. As soon as we walk out into the world, we put ourselves in danger. The only place you're safe, and sometimes you're not, is in your home, because sometimes that danger from outside tries to come inside to your home, and then you got to deal with that shit. And I've had problems with that when I was little. I have stories, I could talk about that another time, with the hand coming into my room when I was little and stuff. I talk about it so many times because it plays in my head. It's just craziness. It's just wild. But be safe out there, everyone. Just be careful. It is wild times. Things are very hectic. We hope things will get better. We can only hope, for the best and pray. It's wild, but happy Friday. And welcome to the weekend. And I will be doing a show later on tonight. So everyone, have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll definitely catch everybody on the flip side. And yeah, I'm planning on doing something for this evening. Maybe a little, I don't know exactly what time, but let's see if I can do around 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. depending with the news and what's going on throughout the day. I'm kind of comfortable with the 6 p.m. start time. For some reason, I don't know why. 8 p.m. 6 and 8 p.m. seems like good start time sometimes for me. I know the 6 p.m. if I start 6 p.m. I could do it a lot longer and be on here a little longer. And yeah, it kills my back, it kills my neck, but I slouch over, because like right now I'm slouching over my desk. I've been on for 2 hours and 37 minutes. So I'm trying to work my way up to be on here a lot more longer. It is a challenge for sure. But with that said, have a good day, everyone, and I will see y'all later. Bye for now.